Armed private security guards are expected to begin patrolling a section of Bucktown on Wednesday, according to emails sent by leaders of the Bucktown Neighbors Association, which is organizing the program. According to documents distributed by the group, the Bucktown's Neighbors Association is working with P4, a private security firm with officers downtown and suburban Downers Grove, to provide nightly patrols of the neighborhood in response to carjackings and other crimes. Now, on the one hand, it's like, okay, I understand people are in desperate need of security and protection, especially with a lot of these smash and grab stories that we've been hearing that's been impacting a lot of retailers in the downtown area of Chicago. But again, by relying on private security firms, I fear that we are opening up a Pandora's box that might cause some ethical problems.
And no offense to Bucktown, but Bucktown, I don't think, has the huge retail presence that the Magnificent Mile and Michigan Avenue have. So I was kind of really taken aback by this story, and I thought this has got liability written all over it, because who approved this, you know?
Yep. Security guards will patrol the area between Armitage Avenue and North Damon Avenue, to the west, North Avenue, to the south of Paula Street, to the east, according to the P4 branded PowerPoint presentation dated December 1st, distributed to some neighbors earlier this month. The nightly security patrols could begin in the evening and last past midnight, with hours changing depending on the season. According to the presentation, during the spring and summer, the patrols will begin later and last longer. So right there is a map of the area in which a private security firm will patrol the Bucktown neighborhood. The Bucktown Neighbors Association has insisted on communicating only through an anonymous email address, and it has not made any of its members available for an interview.
That's particularly chilling.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've gotten to this yet in the article, if the CPD has anything to do with it, because if they don't, one wonders how CPD feels about it. If they are involved in it, who gave them this authority, and why aren't their own officers out on the street doing their jobs? This is like something out of it's like RoboCop. They've got OCP security running things now instead of the Detroit Police Department. We're going to have Ed 99 walking down the street.
Ed 209. Ed 209. And well, we already technically have some mini Ed 209s, being those robo dogs that are now available out there. And we've seen them, how they're right now being equipped with either weapons or tasers or security cameras of that nature. The presentation lists patrols of Barta, Jeff Lowe, Don Richmond, and Samantha Kaplan as board members of the Bucktown Neighbors Association. Bartra is listed as a nonprofit agent on the Illinois Secretary of State's website.
It doesn't even sound like the alderman is involved in this. Who gave these people the authority to just take this upon themselves?
It does call into question the amount of freedom that this Bucktown Neighbors Association really has, in which they can hire a private security force. And if this is fact, that if the city of Chicago is willing to turn a blind eye to it, does that mean other neighborhoods are going to do it too? Because we've seen what happens when there is an increased presence of police. It doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be security and safety. That could also mean there could be a rise to some ethical issues too. And who's to say that profiling will not take place as well? Because this is a private security firm, they don't necessarily have to adhere to the rules of Chicago politics or Chicago policies. So
get to that second paragraph coming up. I'll let you continue with it. I'm reading it too. This next paragraph you're going to get to is insane.
Right. So the board declined to comment on or answer specific questions about the plan, which is frightening unto itself. But according to a document labeled P4 FAQs sent to members of the group and reviewed by the Block Hub, the guards will be armed, but they don't have the authority to arrest anyone. Responding to a question about what exactly guards can do if they encounter a crime being committed, the unsigned document says it's left up to the off-duty police officer and their years of training.
So they can't arrest anybody, but they're armed, which means if they claim that they feel that their lives are in danger, they can shoot people. This kind of sounds perversely like what we hear at protests with people who decide to go in with AR-15s and then say they fear for their lives and not have to be accountable for wandering in a situation where there's no oversight.
Continuing on, if someone is being held at gunpoint and they feel that the person's life is in immediate danger, the off-duty police officer will interject and try and defuse the situation. There's only one way that's going to end.
It's like a vigilante. We're basically reading what we're reading here is this is an authorized vigilante because we don't know if the alder person of the ward has approved of it. We don't know if the Chicago police have approved of it. They're making statements that they have no arrest powers, but if they feel that they're in danger, they're armed so they can handle the situation how they want. This
Right.
is the slippery slope to this is unbelievable.
Could you actually highlight TrueDemocracyNow.org's message? Put it up there. It's True Democracy Now. Hopefully these mercenaries won't kill too many of the residents in their neighborhood doing their jobs. Can we just keep it up there? Just because, again,
sure.
That's what you call this private security firm. They are mercenaries at this point.
Yeah.
Continuing on, while they are off-duty police officers, they do not have arrest powers or jurisdiction to make the arrest. So then why hire them in the first place?
Right.
It must really be a life-saving event, according to the document. And that could be anything. When asked how often guards shoot their guns in other neighborhoods they patrol, the document says P4 has intercepted several major incidents at HOB, and none of our officers ever discharged a weapon or have even pulled their weapons out. This is a last resort and should only be used as life-saving
is House of Blues.
No, not necessarily. Continuing on.
But it might not be.
It is not clear what HOB was referring to. P4 did not respond to a request for comment. A lot of unknowns. In a letter sent to neighbors November 11th, the Bucktown Neighbors Association briefly described its intention to hire a private security patrol and ask for funding. To help deter the rash of crime in Bucktown, neighbors between Winchester and Polina are organizing a private security patrol, the letter reads. There are similar patrol programs in place in nearby neighborhoods. Our program is being coordinated by a newly established nonprofit, the Bucktown Neighbors Association. When first reached for comment last week, the group's members said in an email they were looking into various safety strategies and do not have a timeline to share for when a security patrol could begin. But the patrol will begin Wednesday, according to an email sent to neighbors by Kaplan about a Slack channel being set up to communicate with security guards. In an email dated December 7th, Kaplan wrote, "The Slack channel is live, but we cannot start to communicate with officers until the patrol begins on December 15th. Today is December 14th. That's going to be happening tomorrow." When asked to confirm the start date for the patrol, the group's members said in the email Friday, they believe the program will start December 15th. We do not know for sure and are still in negotiation with them. It's possible that it's pushed back, at which case we could communicate with the neighborhood. You need to start communicating with the neighborhood now. And I want to read this idea from Arturo Medina. That is a bad idea because private security is not a figure of real protection. They are gunheads that want to shoot first. Now, again, it's very interesting how this has been going on. Where are the aldermen? Where is the mayor? Where are our city officials? But after Block Club reporters sent questions asking how the patrol will be managed, what oversight mechanisms will be in place, how a security guard would react to possible crime, and how the security company was selected, the Bucktown Neighbors Association again declined to answer. I want to bring up something real quick. When I was still in college and I was working retail during the summer, when I was on summer break, I worked over there at Bed Bath & Beyond. And one of the things they told us is, don't be a hero and chase after a thief. If someone steals a product, just write it off. Just there, you saw someone steal it, because they had an employee a long time ago run and chase after a guy. A lot of security guards don't do that either. They just let it happen, write it off. That's it. Now, occasionally you do see crimes being stopped, but again, these are security guards, and the Bucktown Neighbors Association, they're not giving any clear answers on how anything is going to be implemented. This is a recipe for disaster, and dare I say it, one of these security guards could take the life of an innocent person or profile the wrong person, hurt somebody, take their life. We've seen this happen before. There's a lot of unknowns and a lack of accountability, and already I could see this getting out of hand very soon, and a lot of legal questions being brought up. Jerry, I know you wanted to comment.
Well, our police department already does all that.
Yeah.
Violates people's civil rights, shoots the wrong person, escalates the situation. Now, I see that this story broke this morning at 7:55 a.m. by Quinn Myers over at Block Club Chicago. I haven't heard anything else in regular news cycles about this yet, although I must admit I haven't really been looking for more information on this story. I do kind of keep an eye on Twitter, and I haven't seen anything about this. This is insane. We have our problems with regular law enforcement as it is, that this neighborhood block group or just decided to take it upon themselves. I don't even know how this is legal. And the liabilities that are going to escalate We already know that the city is going to be paying out millions of dollars to victims of the Chicago Police Department when they bungle things. When these security guards bungle things, who's going to be held accountable? I'm surprised the mayor's not all over the news. I'm actually kind of surprised that John Catanzara is not all over the news, as much as I can't stand him, which makes me wonder if this group is in some way aligned with CPD, that they haven't opened their mouths about it.
Well, here's some comments from some of the residents. Ken Tyler, who's lived in Bucktown since the late 90s, said he talked to several neighbors involved in organizing patrol, but has concerns about how it will work. I haven't seen how the program will be administered, what kind of quality controls are part of the process, Tyler said last week. I understand that everybody's panic-stricken, every time someone robs somebody, but I don't know what that's the answer, but I don't know what the answer is. Tyler said he's seen security guards in Bucktown conducting practice patrols in recent weeks, but he has questions about their effectiveness. What are the performance requirements of this group? Big question about that. True. I haven't seen anything. What are they supposed to do? They can't stop anybody. They can only call the CPD, is my understanding. My concern would be, what if something happens with the private security firm? Say they shoot somebody. What's the legality? Just a lot of innuendos there, a lot of unknowns. And if you're a civilian, this should raise up a lot of red flags. If you see a situation and you're getting more and more questions instead of being given answers, put the brakes onto this. Bucktown Neighbors Association, your heart theoretically is in the right spot, but if you follow through with this and something happens, somebody innocent could pass away and die. I understand a lot of people are scared here in Chicago with, yes, there's crime, yes, there's violence, but this is not the solution. And the sad fact is, we do have a city government. We do have the TIF funds. Maybe we can help alleviate the homeless and joblessness problem in the city of Chicago by using the TIF funds to start investing into our communities, investing into our schools, investing into our neighborhoods again. Maybe that's a bridge too far for some of our politicians, because we got a lot of the lawmakers right now sitting on their hands. And if this thing follows through, and if one of these security guards makes a bad decision, somebody innocent could lose their life.
This very well could be an intention by this group to push back against the police department and the city, because they don't feel that they're getting the proper kind of protection in the neighborhood. But when I read that, even so, a little bit further back in the article, it says in an email last week, Alderman Scott Wagasback of the 32nd, whose ward includes much of Bucktown, says he hasn't had any meetings with the group, so he can't answer much about them. The alderman isn't even connected with what's happening here. Yeah. This is like the wild, wild west suddenly in Bucktown. Yeah, heart might be in the right place, but that this was just dropped today with no other public conversation anybody's been aware of. And you wonder what kind of precedent it's going to set in other neighborhoods. If they can do it, then everybody can do it. I can't imagine Lightfoot's going to be that thrilled with this. So I'm waiting to see what the other developments are on this.
At this point, with the action of Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Well, she's out. She's out to lunch anyway.
I will be surprised if she even considers rerunning again in 2023.
Yeah.
And let's be very clear here. I had a lot of high hopes for Mayor Lightfoot and her administration. Started off with a bang, and right now it's ending in a sad whimper. That's what I have to say about Mayor Lightfoot and her administration and the ineffectiveness of her policies. Where is Mayor Lightfoot in this? She, again, should be speaking out about this or commenting on this, or maybe putting a break on this, because I already see more problems coming from this. 2023 is the next Chicago election cycle, and I think at this point we need a brand new mayor, we need a brand new city council. We need to get more people involved. And that's the purpose of this channel, to actually get Chicagoans to understand when election day is going to take place in Chicago during the 2023 election cycle, and also who's running for office. Because for too long, I think a lot of people in the city of Chicago have been made unaware about when the elections are taking place, who's running, and why we need to vote some of these bastards out. Because look, we need real effective leadership, and we need to start using those damn TIF funds. Chicago isn't broke. If we start investing in our city, I know, maybe we could end some of the crime here. I'm not trying to create a rosy scenario, but this situation of relying on private security firms, or either that, getting more police on the street, I understand people are frightened, but if we look at every situation as though we have a hammer and everything's a nail, it's not going to solve anything. We need to diversify our tool set and actually start reinvesting and rebuilding the city, and maybe ending the violence in different ways. I understand that there's crime. I understand there's violence. Yes, this is true. But there's a bigger issue here in Chicago, and that is unchecked corruption. And when you have unchecked corruption, you have situations like this where you have a recipe for disaster with this private security firm that could, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. I'm asking a lot of questions.
Not even the Chamber of Commerce knows what the hell's going on, because further in the article, the executive director said they're waiting to learn more about the security patrol. And if this is a Chamber of Commerce thing, if it was a the Chamber of Commerce already offers rebate for businesses that want to hire private security services for their own businesses, but this security service is like covering the whole neighborhood. So, and the fact that they won't answer questions, somebody's got to get to the heart of like, who put this thing together and why aren't they being held accountable for answering the questions that people in the neighborhood ought to know? I mean, I'm sure that they're thinking that, well, this is going to put a bite into crime and scare, criminals from acting in the neighborhoods. But yeah, all the unanswered questions. And also to what you just mentioned, Kit, what you mentioned and what you proposed are longer term solutions that we've just been kicking the can down the road for years. Unfortunately, despite the fact we have TIF funds and we want to invest in these communities, that's a longer term issue that would take time to resolve itself, that there is no time left now. I mean, this has basically gotten to where it's gotten now because we've kept kicking that can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we just need someone. We need new leadership is what we need. New leadership that's going to open up those TIF funds and start investing in the neighborhoods, because this is where that kind of control of the purse strings gets us.
Yeah. And I want to read that statement right there in the paragraph. In a statement, the Chamber of Commerce member said they will continue to be an advocate for small business community and our neighbors in doing what we can do to support crime reduction strategies. And we encourage the Chicago Police Department to dedicate additional resources to our business district. Look, I understand there's a lot of small business owners that are being impacted by this heavily. There is, again, look, here's the thing. With the aftermath of 2020, the problems that were in 2020 followed us in 2021 and are going to follow us again in 2022. And things have gotten worse because our government at the federal, state, and city level have abandoned the people. And this is a nationwide issue, just not exclusively here in Chicago. Long-term solutions are this. We need a city government here right now that's going to invest in the people, provide job relief, social programs to help out working class citizens. We have the resources to do so. And I understand that, yes, there's going to be crime. No doubt about it. There's crime and violent people and bad guys out there, okay? That's a real fact. And Chicago has its situation with it. I understand that. But there are ways in which we can turn things around, because right now in this economic uncertainty, in this neoliberal nightmare that we are in, a lot of people are desperate. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are scared and don't really know what lies down the road. And in this political environment, especially here in Chicago, relying on a private security firm where there's more questions than answers, it needs to be put the brakes on it right now until there's a clear plan about what exactly is happening.
The article goes on to say, Kit, that this seems to be a response to carjacking. So you've got it says this fall, local alder people and police organized community meetings to raise awareness of the surge and provide updates on police strategies being implemented to deter carjackings and other crimes. So obviously CPD didn't implement anything to protect to deter carjackings. So then you've got the organized community meetings probably having this come up, being suggested by someone at the meetings, and lo and behold, bang, now we got these guys rolling around the neighborhood that are being given carte blanche, not just to protect residents from carjackings, but they've got all these other powers now that are associated with being a security guard in the neighborhood. Again, probably well-intentioned, but their overreach now is completely unsupervised and unaccountable, and is going to cause potentially a lot of problems because CPD apparently didn't implement something to allay the community's fears with the rash of increases in carjackings.
Agreed. All right, so a final note for this. Tomorrow will be December 15th, the official start date. We'll see what happens, because we're going to talk about it on Friday's show if there's an update to this story. But
yeah,
I am really concerned about this.